Good morning, good morning, good morning. Wow, it's another week of International Women of Blockchain. I'm really excited for all of you all to join us and happy Monday. Definitely excited about today. I hope you guys have been keeping up. We've had a lot of content. It's been week three. We've had 2 weeks of great content. We started on March 1st and we're still running strong. We had several different ladies all across the globe join us those 2 weeks. And it was fantastic just being able to tap into women across different countries. We had an individual in Sydney, Australia who submitted her video and we were able to play it because guess what? She is 12 hours behind, actually 12 hours ahead of us. So therefore she was sleeping, but we were able to show her that she was represented in this space, which is fantastic. We even had another NFT artist who joined us from Cuba. That was fantastic. I mean, when we say this event is international, it truly is international. We have women from all across the globe, women from Africa, women from North America, South America, Asia, Europe, everywhere. Can you believe that? No, we have great women in this space. The blockchain ecosystem has a lot of women in this space, and we're happy to show and give them a spotlight and show representation. Because when you're looking for speakers, we got a stage full of speakers who are ready to talk. These ladies answer the call and they're ready to show and spotlight and give an insight into what they're building in this ecosystem. We had some great discussions. I mean, can you believe it? Metaverse took us there. It took us into how these tools and technologies are being built. Are they being built in silo, or are they considering women when it comes to a lot of these tools? We realized that the headgear was something that needs to be improved on. And so therefore, there's opportunities there. We're hoping a lot of women step up and start being involved in creating these tools to help us don our headgear better, right? We don't want any snagging with our hair, and we all have different hairstyles. So that's something to consider. We also got introduced to a wonderful metaverse. I mean, this metaverse, wow, 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 wow. If you guys have not looked at it, go ahead and check it out. It's HTC Viververse. And the Viververse, oh my God, it gave us everything, everything. And I just, wow. All I know is that they really thought it through. And the great thing was they actually had women being represented. Their CEO of Viververse was actually a woman, which I thought that was fantastic because she was able to present and give us an insight into what the vision is for that particular metaverse. Now, we're looking for interoperability, and it's very important for us to be able to move from one metaverse to the other. So hopefully that's something that we experience pretty soon. It's all about decentralization. Decentralization is very powerful and it's very important. So we need to make sure that we stay focused on that. There's so much more for us to talk about, so much more for us to dive into. And I hope that you guys enjoy the next few speakers that we have for Mind Your Money Monday with Najah Roberts. Thank you very much, everyone, and let's get started. Najah?
Yes. Hi,
Hey,
good morning.
how are you?
I'm incredible. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Now, I just heard that you just got off a plane. So,
Yes,
but you're
yes,
here.
yes.
Dedication.
About 2 hours, 2.5 hours ago, I got off a plane. So I am here. I am ready to roll, or got in the house from getting off the plane. But I am here ready to roll and super excited about Mind Your Money Monday. And so I have two fabulous guests that you will be hearing from today. One young lady, her name is Laura, and the other young lady's name is Laurie. And so we're going to really jump in and get you all some great information over the next couple of hours. And I'm really, really excited about what we have to share. And before we get into really talking about mining your money, just really understand. Now, I live on the West Coast, but I just came from the East Coast. And on that East Coast trip, I really realized that it is really time for us to really take a proactive approach to minding our money. There's just so many differences that are going on. If you all did not know, here on the West Coast, our gas is touching close to $8 and $9 a gallon in some places. And I really am the one that really feels like cryptocurrency specifically is going to help us close the wealth gap, but it's not going to do anything immediately for what's going on. And I think as women, individuals who run our households, we really need to start taking a look at cutting back where we can cut back, because we don't know what the future is looking like. Or I don't want to say the future. We don't know what the present is looking like, because things are just really seeming to get out of control. So the next couple of speakers we have are going to be talking about some psychology, some things that we need to know as women, and just all sorts of things. And so I'm really excited about this day. Thank you all for joining us, and I cannot wait for this panel. So without further ado, we are ready. And so if you ladies would bring to the stage for me Miss Laura Bolanos and Miss Laurie Souza. Welcome, ladies.
Hello, hello.
I think Laurie, Laurie has to unmute.
There we go. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Let me just make sure that I can hear Laura. Hey, Laura.
Hello.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we got you. Hello, hello, hello. So, ladies, I would like to welcome you to this incredible conference. We have been waiting on your content and what you have to offer. And what I'd like to do just really quickly is I'm not even really quickly. I know that you both are very well accomplished. So I want to let our listeners know exactly what we're going to be doing. We are going to be allowing Laura to tell us about herself, and Laurie as well. But what we're going to do is this first hour, we're going to talk to Laura all about behavioral economics and what we need to be doing in our psychology, in our psychological space to help us prevent making wrong decisions and making the right economic decisions. And I think this is a great time to be talking about this because of what we're facing right now, not just in this country, but all over the world. And then in the second hour, we're going to bring Laurie back in. And Laurie's actually going to talk to us about security and scam awareness. But she's also going to talk about how the blockchain is going to help and can track things, because we've heard all these things about how blockchain or cryptocurrency is untraceable and trackable, and they make it seem like there's no way to recover things. And so I think Laurie would beg to differ. So we're going to get some time to talk to her in depth about those things. And so I appreciate you all and your patience. And please get your coffee out. Get ready, because these two ladies are going to help us do what we need to do to stay safe in this. Stay safe. Look at this. Stay safe in this space, both in our mind and both in our pocket. How about that? So without any further ado, Miss Laura, welcome. How are you today?
Thank you very much for having me here. I'm super excited right now. English is not my first language, so I ask you, forgiveness in advance if I do mistakes regarding my grammar or spelling the words.
No worry.
No.
No worry. You are among friends. We are friends. So take your time, and we'll do just great.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm gonna give you like a glimpse about myself. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about myself just to get started this. Well, my name is Laura. I'm from Costa Rica, but I'm living in Spain. I have been living in Spain for the past 7 years already. I have been developing my career in e-commerce, and right now I have been like into blockchain like for the last 2 to 3 years. I am developing my PhD regarding behavioral economics inside of the cyberspace. So right now we have a name for that, that is the metaverse. But in the beginning, it just was like the cyberspace, so the internet. Um, and that's it. So now I have a presentation. I have a little presentation. If you want me to present, or I don't know if now you have some questions or something that you want to know.
Yes, I do. I would love to. Yes, we'd love to have your presentation. But so yes, let's go ahead and have your presentation. Let's do that first.
Right. All right. So I'm going to talk you about cognitive bias and also the ethical marketing. All right. So what is the cognitive bias? So for the first part, cognitive bias, and second bias, it will be ethical marketing, and then you can ask me anything. All right. So the question is that, are we totally rational entities? We like to think about ourselves as a person, that we have a brain and we take decisions every day, and we like to think about ourselves as a really intelligent and rational beings. But the thing is that we are not. Most of the time, we are prone to cognitive biases. These are like a really some of them are like um, quick shortcuts in order to take decisions. Those biases are for our brain and for our lives, because otherwise we are going to overthink every decision that we made. And if we are talking about money, is more likely that we overthink things. So those are like useful, but at the same time we need to be aware of them, so we can tackle the decision with fully aware of what is going on and what is the expectations that we are trying to reach. All right. So we have over like 100 cognitive biases that shape our perceptions, beliefs, and decisions. So, for example, if you are imagine right now that we are in this crypto world and this Web3, and we are not immune to those biases because we are still being us. So we need to be aware of these powerful biases so we can take better decisions and invest in our time and our money and our energy in a more wisely way. All right. Now I would like to talk about only 6 of those cognitive biases um, that we need to be really, really aware of in this crypto world and the Web3. So the first one is the echo chamber. As the name says, the echo chamber effect occurs with a group of people are talking about the same topic, and they are passionate about it. Most of the time, they develop, or we develop, a tunnel vision. So we don't see or hear anything that is against our own information. So, for example, in the Web3 is or crypto assets and cryptocurrencies, crypto world, is very, very common that we are inside of these kind of communication streams like Discord. We have Telegram, we have now Twitter, and all these kind of channels. Most of the time, they echo our own opinions. So we are like prone to not see anything that give us like the idea of a different idea of what are we talking about or we are thinking about. So we need to be really aware of this, the echo chamber effect. Then the other one, it will be the halo effect. This is the tendency of a person to positive or negatively traits to spill over one personality area into another's perception of them. This is also pretty common in this. For example, the NFTs copycats, the collections, they say they have a collection, for example, a PFP NFT collection, and then the protocols sprung, out of existing success. And then, for example, we have these copycats come and try to do the same thing, but they are just like giving the look alike of this kind of really serious collection, but they are just there to scam of money. Like it's almost like they are like, yeah, it's a scam. So we need to be really aware of this halo effect and do our own research. Then also the IKEA effect is something that affects a lot to the people that are involved into a project. The IKEA effect is the tendency for people to place a disproportionately high value on objects that they particularly assemble themselves. Like the IKEA furniture in this case, that's the name from. But in the Web3, for example, we as a builders and a foundation community members, we tend to have this effect also, because this effect can lead us to a hyper defensive and failing to see the flaws in our project. So we need to be really aware that maybe our project is not that well done, or that we need to do some change in order to provide more value for our community. So this is something that we need to be aware of also. What else? Now, let's see. All right, we have the optimism bias. This is something also related with the IKEA effect, but the optimism bias is the tendency to be over optimistic, to overestimate favorable and pleasing outcomes. This is super is cool at the same time, but this is super dangerous at the same time for us. Like, we are trying to build something really huge and something really nice here with the Web3 and the crypto world, because we trend to be really crazy enthusiastic once we kickstart, our entrepreneurial venture. But we lose the enthusiasm, once we see that the project is not going the way that it's supposed to be. So so we need to be aware of this, because most of the time we need to set really like not a like a normal scenario for our project, right? Then the 5, it will be the confirmation bias. This is similar to the ones that we already talked about, the echo chamber effect. That's the only with the confirmation bias, you only seek out information that tells you what you want to hear. So if you only follow people to say good things about X coin, for example, and you unfollowed and block anyone that spreads like the FUD, feud, about the when you invest, seek and research the fact to see that it's valid. So you need to come up with a really systematic way to research your own opinions and to research all the information that is out there regarding a coin, a NFT project, or the blockchain itself. You need to do your own research. Then, what is about these six? Number 6 is the Suncast. This is something really amazing because we tend to see a project, might be an NFT project, might be a community, might be a Discord server that we're creating. This Suncast bias is a cast that occurred and can be recovered. It's already done. We already put the money in, and then we keep investing more money, or overcommitting ourselves with our time, just because we are scared of losing our original investment. So we need to be aware of this, because most of the time, if something is not looking good for us, like an investment, or like an investment, and it's not looking really well, so it's better if we just leave us on time, like sell that stuff and leave on time, because otherwise you're going to continue investing money, investing time, because you don't want to lose your original investment or your original idea. And this is something that we need to be really aware of, because once everything is done, you cannot be undone. So it's better if you just take yourself out of that situation. All right, that was with the cognitive bias, and now I want to talk a little bit about the ethical marketing. This is like a memory lane, so I just call it a memory lane ride. I want you to figure out this. Ago, for the 45 years of Bitcoin, just in the beginning of all this, the blockchain community ethos was quite literally the polar opposite of advertising industry. Why? Because the community was generally so niche and so close together, so look-alike, that most of the users had a good sense of what they were looking for. Following the launch of Ethereum, the rise of smart contracts, and also the ICO's mania, things change a lot. All of a sudden, it was ready for startups to launch projects, with their own tokens, and take millions with a white paper, with these negotiation rounds and bootstrapping strategies. But then all of a sudden, they need a marketing budget, and they began to skyrocket and paid campaigns, everywhere. And then, with the potential of capital accumulation. So that's what happened. So the thing is that marketing is inevitable. Startups or projects inside the Web3 or cryptocurrency or crypto world, they need to reach their desired audience and grow a user base. So the question is, can this be done in a more ethical way, in line with the ethos of this technology that we love and support? Well, the answer is yes, but we need to work on it. Let's see. So, excuse me. I want to show you the definition of the ethical marketing. So the ethical marketing is supposed to emphasize trustworthy, transparent, social, and also cultural sensitive marketing policies. It exhibits strong integrity and justice to customers. So the ethical advertising is going to play a crucial role in Web Web3, blockchain, open source, and the future of the internet, I'm sure. The thing is that with the ethical marketing, companies and also individuals adds value adds value to the consumers that is based that is also based on environmental and social causes. So we're talking about a type of marketing that will help us to only consume the things that we need and consume things that are helping our environment and also helping our community that is, that surround us. All right. So what does this look like in practice? Those are just 4 examples, but I like you to take this in your mind, to have it on top of your mind once you are trying to do a project. Might be this creating a community, creating an NFT project, or just try to invest yourself into a cryptocurrency, etc. So in this case, for example, the platform or the tool, we have the platform of the tool, then the ethical use, and then the unethical use. So for example, in the email marketing, the ethical use will be sending us to only people that is interested in this. And that's it. The unethical use, it will be spamming, do a spam, So for example, the advertising, the ethical use, it will be attracting traffic to your own website or project to sell the products or services via an honest and clear ad, like you show the ad and the ad is telling you what you're gonna get. The unethical use, it will be the clickbait. The data scraping and data mining, the ethical use, it will be using publicly available data, so using open data, and also try to have the source of contact information, And then what it will be the unethical use? Well, scrapping all the data, using technology and using software just to get all that information for you, or buying that information from other company. That's not an ethical use of data, scrapping or mining. The other one, it will be the conversion optimization or the UX. The ethical use, it will be identifying the gaps in perceived value, and the user experience, and improving conversion rates accordingly. That will be the ethical way to do it. The unethical way to do it, well, will be optimizing the content and marketing material with clickbait, psychological appealing, but empty, false, and misleading information. We are used to see all these unethical uses all along the Web 2. So it's time to us to do it differently. So my final thoughts with this, it will be like, in the end, the best way to determine the ethical degree of your strategies and campaigns or tactics is simply with a bit of self-reflection. I would like to see ethical advertising becoming a new standard in the blockchain space and eventually on the internet as a whole. If you are here today and you are listening to this, you are probably already in tune with some of these issues. So kudos for that. Now I'm challenging you to take a step further. And that's it. That's everything that I have for today. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you very much, ladies from the organization, for taking me into your amazing organization. And that's it. If you want to get in touch with me, you can book a free tour or something LinkedIn or and LinkedIn. Thank you. And also, I have my LinkedIn over there, and then I am part of this amazing organization that is called WOCA. So it's also for free. It's for artists in crypto art. So it's Women of Crypto Art. So if you want to come here, you're more than welcome. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. I had no idea that there was so much psychology behind what's happening. I'm actually going to ask a couple of questions myself, just based on what you just shared with us. And every time that you were talking about one of the six things, um, one of the six biases,
Negative
I
bias.
was thinking about how it actually relates to my life right now. And so you actually scared me. So I had to take some notes. I started jotting down notes. I wasn't looking down or away because it's really incredible. Um, I'm gonna just tell you, like right now, today, and I'm looking at this echo effect. Um, I really was taken aback by the echo effect. And just to think that all of these 100 biases are in place, and that we're involved in them and we don't even really realize that we're involved in them. I mean, I think what you're doing and what you spoke about is brilliant. And I think that all of us as women and men really need to look into which one of these biases we're actually affected by. And I saw at least four of the six. Now, if there's 100 out there, I think I'm involved in more, but I'm just listening. I was listening and I literally had to kind of hone in to say, wait a minute, this is what I'm doing every day. So I want to actually ask you a question about the echo effect, if you will.
Sure.
Um, because a lot of us are in our little silos, the little things that we do on a daily basis in this space, whether it has to do with cryptocurrency, whether it has to do with the NFT project, or whether it has to do with the metaverse. And we're in these little silos, and everybody around us is saying exactly the same thing. It's something that we want to hear, and it's not necessarily wrong, but it makes you really think if you're really doing the right thing, with this echo effect. And I don't know if you will kind of break down, what the echo effect looks like. Let's say with on a Discord, or on a Discord server, and one of the, well, I'll say Discord and Telegram, because they do have moderators that take messages off that wouldn't necessarily be healthy or beneficial to the community, not just because somebody is spamming, but maybe even because they have a different way of thinking about a project. And so how does being involved in the echo effect, bias, actually hurt us?
Sure. Yeah. Well, the thing with this, we usually try um, to be like sure of ourselves, like to feel secure about our way of thinking and the way we are doing things that we are doing. In the crypto world, we can follow and also try to hear skeptical people. Most of the time, these skeptical people are people that is really intelligent and smart. Smart people that are that this is not something that is going to take a really good hit into the economy, for example, or that the crypto world is not going to be really successful. That this is just a trend for the geeks, or this is something that is only for developers, or this is something only for the savvy tech people. And if we hear these people, you don't need to be agree, or you don't need to be to have to agree with these people, but hearing alternatives views it might help to sharpen your own. So this is super important, because if we hear something that is negative, about our project, maybe we can come with the solution. So if people are not understanding right now what is the blockchain about, or what is the crypto assets or cryptocurrencies, um, like or the way that we can achieve things, if people are not understanding this and they are saying that this is a scam or this is something that is not good, we have the opportunity to be more thoughtful and be aware of this and make a solution for them. So make this an space more like understandable for all. So we can share it like it's an opportunity, not something that is negative. But we need to place yourself in those things, like we hear some things that we are not used to, and that is not that we might don't like, but we need to do it, because otherwise we're gonna be really biased, you know.
Yes. And I agree. And so, again, I had no idea that there was actual behavioral economics behind this. And so I'm just in awe at what you're doing. And so I think that I'm on the right track based on what you're saying. In some of the clubhouse rooms that I actually moderate, I really try to hear both sides and not try to shoot down someone who has an opposing view, because it allows me to talk through it with them about what they believe, to then help somebody else that may be thinking that but just didn't have the nerve to say it, or really to think through it, because maybe they're maybe correct in what they're thinking, or maybe we just need to reframe some things. So I really, really appreciate you for bringing that up. One of the other ones that I really think, and I think all of the biases are important, but I want you to expound on one more for me, if you will. I want you to break down just one more. I won't take you all the way back through, which again, all 6 of them were great. But I really, really, really want you to talk about sunk cost bias, because we get involved in
Sunkast.
some of these projects and we just want to keep going and keep going, and we're going to make it work. And I think as women, um, I would venture to say that women, we're more apt to do this than men, um, because we want to see this work, and we're really figuring out as we go, or thinking as we go, that we can make this thing turn around. And we don't like to waste time. And so we do have one other question from the audience, but we're going to go ahead. I want to ask you about this sunk cost bias. Like, what should we as women really be doing if we're in too deep for these projects?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, the thing with this is that we need to thinking about it like in an economic way. So we have two different assets. On one hand, we have our time, that we are investing our time, and our time is money. And also we have been investing like actual money, like our savings, for example, or
Yes.
we get a loan to do this project, right? So the thing with this is that we need to come up at the beginning of the project with a really good business plan, of like a realistic business plan, because we usually take only one scenario that will be that things are going to go to be like really well. Things are going to be well, and things are going to be fantastic and amazingly, and we are going to be to have a sold out in the first try. Most of the time, that's not something realistic that it will happen. All right. So we have to come up with a time. So, for example, if I'm doing a project and I'm going to give it 2 months that to this project, or a year. I'm going to be investing in this 1 year. But then the year passed and the project is not doing really well, and the project is not like you are barely surviving in the business area, in your business. It's time to say thank you very much. I learned a lot from you, but it's time for me to move on. you know so the cost is already done. It's sunk, like a chip. We put it in the beginning, and that's something that maybe we already got back from the business, or maybe not. But the time that we already put in there is always going to be a cost, because the time is not something that you can get back. Money is something that you can get back, but time is impossible to get it back. So we just need to come up with, at the beginning of the project, we just need to came up with the time. I'm going to see for most of the time for business or startup, time from 2 to 4 years. And if the project or if the startup is not doing well, so it's better to close up and go to the next thing.
All
Yeah,
right.
sorry. This is
No,
something it's
you're
kind
good.
of sad, but it's good to know.
You know what? It is. And I told you when you were coming telling us about these biases, I was like, oh my goodness, that's me. And I will say this really quick, because some of the things are some of the ways that I look at things is just based on Amazon. Amazon, they rolled in the negative for years before they were finally positive. And for some reason, a lot of us tend to think that maybe if we just keep going, this thing will turn around and it'll turn into the Amazon of whatever it is we're trying to do. So I think it's really good to have both of those, psychological understandings. And so I appreciate you. So one of the questions was, are there specific
Yeah.
things to pay attention to in the tokens white paper that we should focus on?
Yes. Yes, I will answer the question, but at first I want to say something about the Amazon business case, because most of the time we only hear the good part of this, that it will be like after 20 years of being on business, they just took off like a skyrocket. But this is something that most people does not understand, is like Bezos at that time, they have a really good chunk of money to keep going and to keep investing, and they were scrapping data from their consumers, at the same time. So
Oh,
if your project can do this, go ahead, do it. But most of the projects are not like Amazon at the beginning. We trying to get confused about this and romanticizing this idea, about I'm going just to took off after a lot of time. But if you don't have the means, if you don't have the money and the time and the technology to scrap information from your customers, that is not ethical to do, as I say. So please just give it a time and see, like, if the project is not taken off in 4 or 5 years, just move on to the next thing, learn from it, and just move on. All
thank you for
right,
that.
about
Yes.
question, are there specific things to pay attention in token white papers? Yes. Most of the time you need to look at the economics of the project. So for example, if the white paper is talking about a play to earn game, this is really common. The tokens are really common in play to earn games. if the tokenomics is not really clear, or for example, how many tokens you need to obtain a certain item or to get it out to your wallet, that's something that it will be like turning the lights of alarm on, so just please pay attention to the tokenomics way that they are describing. If they doesn't have a really good um, roadmap on how these things are going to be, is this is not a serious project. So just be aware of that. I don't know
Yes.
if I answered the question, but
No, you did. You did. And I would like to add something to that
if it's
because,
clear.
yeah, and I think you did a great job. The roadmap is critically important, but it's also critically important um, that they meet the marks on that roadmap. Because if they say that in 2020 we
Exactly.
were going to do XYZ, and here we are sitting in 2022, and they have not done it as of yet, like there is an issue with what some things that are going on now. Granted, there are going to be some snags and projects, but I don't know how many times I just keep saying, when they're pushing these dates back and saying we're getting ready, we're getting ready, we're getting ready. In my opinion, they're just continuing to collect monies until, just to try to till they can either get their project to work or that they can kind of pull the rug under everybody. And so you want to really be careful about when people don't meet their timelines on their white paper, the timelines that's been placed on their white paper. So that's what I would have to offer and add to that. But Laura, you have done an incredible job. I wanted to ask you a couple of personal questions really quick before we get off. I know that you said you're from Costa Rica, but right now you're in Spain.
Sure.
And so you're working towards your doctoral degree, your
Yes.
PhD. And growing up,
Yes.
was tech, and how did you get tech to cross over with this psychological behavioral thing? How did those two cross? Was tech your first love, or did you just see the need to get in tech? Like, how did that work?
All right. Well, the thing is that my major is in international affairs, or in trade.
Mhm.
So I began to work for really big companies, like I don't know if I'm allowed to say companies over here. I don't know.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
you can say companies. You're okay.
Yes.
We want the
All
women
right.
to know what the possibilities are. So yes.
All right. I started to begin great and nice companies as Dell, Fujitsu, Hewlett Packard, and I was all over the place doing stuff with technology, but my degrees didn't match at the time. So then I went back to school and did a master on business. Then I did another one that it will be like for entrepreneurial stuff. And then I did another one on e-commerce. Um,
Okay.
and then after all this learning, like the academic side of this, it was cool, but at the same time, I like to help people and to understand what is going on with the people minds inside of the cyberspace. As I said at the beginning of my talk, the cyberspace, it was something that it was there. It was the internet, but we didn't have a name. Now we have a name for it, that it will be the metaverse. um,
Mhm.
and then I began to be super interested in cyberspace and the cyber psychology. So I reached a lady that her name is Mary A. Aiken, I can put the name on the chat for later. And she's a sweet lady. She has these amazing books regarding the cyber psychology. Then I decide to merge two of my passions, that it will be the economics and the business side, and then the psychology side, because I would like to know what is going on with the mind of the people inside this cyber. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
that was my
That's awesome. And
my
so,
ride over there.
and I don't know if it was my camera or your camera, but when you said what your first degree was in, I didn't hear you. And the reason I want you to repeat it is because there may be a woman out there who's interested in following in your footsteps in this career path, because what you're doing is so needed in this space. So if you can repeat what your first degree was in.
My first degree is international affairs.
Oh, international affairs. Then give me the second one.
International trade, and then the master's is an MBA entrepreneurial stuff, and then e-commerce and so on and so on.
Okay. Yeah. No. I so appreciate you.
You have my
yeah.
You have my LinkedIn over there if you want to.
Yes. Yeah, so people can ask, but I just thought, I'd have you repeat it so that we can make sure that women that are on this career path and really trying to find their way can really figure out how they can just get into an industry that maybe they weren't even thinking about. And I think it's incredible. I think what you have done is just important.
Thank you very much. Yeah, actually, it has nothing to do with technology. It has nothing to do with data. And then, all of a sudden, I get this urge to learn about it. So I taught myself how to code, and then how to think about about the numbers and in a different aspect, from my own academic journey, and it was amazing. So if I do it that I didn't like in the beginning, and right now I'm teaching analytics, I'm teaching statistics at the university level, I'm teaching marketing, and I'm teaching big data and open data at university, so you can do it as well, So don't get discouraged if you get like a degree from historic or art, or because you can do it, it's and you are needed also in the space. So yeah.
Well, again, thank you. You are absolutely incredible. I think what you're doing is ingenious, and you have just built. You just left so many questions for me, and I will definitely be getting in contact with you. I hope all of you that are here, all of you that are listening, just really take a look at what she's doing, and just really getting to know like what these biases are, how we're actually functioning in this space, and if we need to do some changing of how we're moving in these biases. And so again, Laura, I just want to say thank you to you. You are incredible. And everyone knows how to get in contact with you, because hopefully they got your LinkedIn information. But if you could just tell us really quickly before the intermission, how to find, I know you put the links up there, but somebody may have missed it. So if they can reach you, we have it right there on the screen. You're at LAUBOLGO, and that's on all social medias, correct?
Yes, you can reach me over there. That's my Twitter account, also my personal Instagram account. I don't share a lot of like stuff regarding my research on my Instagram, but I do share some stuff also. So On LinkedIn, it will. So, yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, again, Laura,
you can
thank
connect with me through
you.
there. It will
Yes.
be on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, it will be same Lau Bolgo. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you. And you have an incredible rest of your day. And so, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Miss Laura has just incredible. I mean, she swept me off my feet this morning. And so we're going to take a quick intermission, and then we're going to bring back Laurie Souza. This is a presentation that you do not want to miss. She's going to be talking to us about security and scam awareness, but she's also in this space dealing and teaching real estate professionals what they need to know. And so this is going to be an incredible presentation. So ladies and gentlemen, do not touch that dial, because when we come forward, the next two voices you will hear will be mine and that of our very own Laurie Souza. So peace and blessings. We'll see you in just a few. Hello, hello, and we are back with Miss Laurie Souza. Ladies and gentlemen, and the brave men that love us, I would just like to say, that last hour was captivating for me because I learned some stuff about myself and the circles that I'm in that I had no idea. And so I'm going to be more careful as I go forward to make sure that I am giving both sides of the coin at all times, giving out the greatest information. And I cannot wait to start to govern my life around those biases and non-biases. So I really appreciate Laura for that information. Well, next up here, we have this fabulous young lady named Laurie.
Thank you,
Laurie
Najah.
is just incredible. I think you will soon see that. But really what I want to do is ask Laurie to tell us a little bit about herself, how she, who she is, and how she got to this space called cryptocurrency, because she has a whole litany of things that she has done. And just to end up here is just an incredible story. So Laurie, welcome. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, hi Najah, how are you? I'm glad to be on the same room with you again. So it's really an honor, and we're flying all night. So thank you for being here. So thank you everybody, and I'm glad to be a speaker here. I'm Laurie Souza, and I'm a advisor educator in the cryptocurrency blockchain space. I actually did my first education as a blockchain advisor in 2019, and got involved in cryptocurrency back in 2016 when a good friend of mine named Morpheus introduced me to it, and he told me about how it was a hedge against inflation. And so, having lived through the dot-com recession and impacted by that in my career in technology, and then the second recession in my adult life was the real estate recession in 2007, 2008, 9, 10, 11, which impacted my career. At that time, I understood the importance of understanding Bitcoin and its alternative economy that it offers and what it can do for individuals. I like to call it on the ground economics. That's my Twitter, is ground economics. And, we have a similar mindset with that, Najah. It's get everybody enough so that they can handle the inflation that's coming, which we see. And I like what you mentioned about the gas prices, which I don't like the gas prices. I'm actually in Phoenix, Arizona right now, and our gas prices aren't as much as California, but they are certainly higher than Florida. Right now in Phoenix, we're looking at $4.70 a gallon. And so inflation is going right before our eyes. So anything we talk about right now is very much about what today's economy is. So anyway, introducing myself, how did I get into this space? I got into the space, started out, I had a 17-year career as an engineer. I worked in technology, I studied technology, and then I also had real estate as a hobby. And when the dot-com recession hit, that's when I moved after trying to get back into technology. At that time, I moved into turning my hobby of real estate into a career. And the combination of the two of them, and I've also been an educator part-time, been teaching business and economics at a private college at night. I did that as well. So the combination of all of that just made sense for me to get into this and start being the town crier and let everybody know what's going on with the economy and what we're getting ready to see.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I like that story about Morpheus, because a lot of us needed a Morpheus, right? A lot
That's
of us,
right.
our Morpheuses came in different shapes, forms, and fashions, but just thank goodness for the Morpheuses of the world, right? And so as you look at real estate, I'm going to get into this really quickly because I want people to know how deep you are in that space, as well as what you're about to share with us. But as it relates to real estate, like, how do you see this whole cryptocurrency blockchain ecosystem changing real estate?
Yeah, so that's a great question. There's two ways that we can look at it. So there's a camp of Bitcoin, the Bitcoin camp, and right now there's a certification that's realtors are able to receive called a Bitcoin cryptocurrency certification, where individuals, once they get the designation and the certification, they can help clients who have cryptocurrency to purchase real estate. So that's one aspect of it. The other aspect is the real estate tokenization, which requires the blockchain, which requires securities laws. Okay, the SEC gets involved. Or we have another option, which is the NFT, which the first house in Gulfport, Florida, actually just sold as an NFT. And it was through an auction process, and it sold for more than what the market value was. And the individual who bought the NFT ended up paying over 2,000 Ethereum for the house. So it's able to be done as an NFT, but we also see the regulators coming into the space and saying, wait a minute, this sounds like securities law. The NFT was the way around the securities law, but so we don't know what's going to happen in that space, right, or in the space right now. But there's a lot of property owners that are looking to get involved to put their property either in an NFT or to create a security token. And the security token would raise the funds for the property owner, and also the value individuals buying the security token would have a share of that property or an interest, and any profits from that property would be shown through the token itself. So the individuals buying the tokens would receive the profits from the tokens.
Yes. And in fact, just this weekend, I got a text message while I was in Vermont, and someone says, I'm looking to buy property utilizing Bitcoin. Like, what do I do? And I'm like, let me get back and let me share that information. So this is one of the least of people that I would think that would be calling me about this. So the word is starting to spread. And so, yes, we definitely need to talk about that and get on our game with that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. There is something, and everything that you do is important. But there is something that is super, super important that you're doing right now with Coinstructive, and
That's
a young
right.
man named Chris, and I know Chris well. He is just awesome. A lot of times, one of the biggest arguments that I have with public officials, and I don't want to say arguments, I'll say debates that I have with public officials and our law enforcement, is that people are doing illicit activities utilizing cryptocurrency, and there is absolutely no recourse in their mind. And so I know that you handle security and scam awareness. You know about the different scams, especially the ones that actually do involve women. And so I would like to just give you the floor to present and do what you need to do to really get our women on top of their game, but then to also show us if in the event something does take place, there could possibly be some hope. And I'm going to say possibly, because when I saw your presentation last time, I was like, this washing machine and all this other, it was just intense. And so I would like to give you the floor, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ms. Laurie again, and she has some incredible information to share. You need to stay glued to your screen, because just when you think that this could not happen to you, it could possibly happen to you. So please pay close attention to what is going on with these scams.
Thank you, Najah. So thank you everyone for tuning in. And just to finish up our conversation about the real estate, Najah and I had been in talks. We've been on several panels together, and we do have a business. And Laura talked about, the different businesses that we all want to start up in the space, because there's so much to do, right? We all want to get involved in blockchain and see that it's a solution for so many problems. And so we actually are really interested in the whole aspect and have a business called Digitize My Estate. So we're getting that off the ground and going and working in that arena too. But, as we find, we can't do everything. So we have to really narrow down our work. I'm doing a lot of work for Coinstructive right now, and it's really rewarding. I'm really enjoying finding out and learning about some of the scams out there. And how did I get involved in that? Well, I was scammed, and so I know what it's like. And so, and I'm going to share some of the most popular scams out there, including one that I was involved in. But I went in with a cautious eye, and I like to try things out before I send my clients to them, right? I don't want to send my clients to anything that doesn't sound for sure, or something that I'm a trustworthy person and I want to be able to share with you something that is trustworthy, right? So now I get to actually do that with the tools that I'm working with CoinStructive and the security measures. Oh, good. I've got my presentation up. So now let me see if I'm the one that, okay, good. So you got my introduction, but real quick, I just want you to know I am going to be putting on a Women in Crypto interview series again this year. So I did that in 2020. And so I have a group on LinkedIn called Women in Crypto, and I'm inviting all of you to join that. Also, if you would be so kind to support my efforts of free education, I have a YouTube channel I put together called Innovative Economy, and I would love for you to all go and subscribe to Innovative Economy. So sometimes I move very fast and don't put my plug in with the work I'm doing, so I just want to make sure that I say that. And then also with CoinStructive, you can go and check out all the work that CoinStructive is doing on coinstructive.com. And not only do they do cryptocurrency investigations, but they also do, CoinStructive also does money transmitter licensing and compliance for the cryptocurrency ATMs. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and there's a lot of compliance that needs to be followed. And so at CoinStructive offers that auditing and the compliance work, and as well as the investigations and licensing. So, all right. So we're going to look at some of the most important scams going on right now. And what has been a big surprise, and I don't have it in this presentation, but we've seen, well, I'll share it when we get to it, but right now, during lockdown with COVID, a lot of people are on the internet. We've all seen our habits where we're on the computer a lot more hours than we used to be, right? So when you're on the computer, it's easy to go around and say, okay, I want to buy cryptocurrency. What is this cryptocurrency thing? And then, of course, there's people that are going to pipe in, and they're going to, whether it's WhatsApp, whether it's through other social media, Twitter or LinkedIn, that's going to say, you know, buy cryptocurrency from me. So how do you know whether to trust these individuals is what we're going to talk about. But first, this slide is probably the most important slide. The comparison between centralized and decentralized data. When we look at a centralized system, which is what we're used to in our current internet, the centralized system gives us the data in a central hub, right? We just get online, we get on the internet, we can go cruise and browse anything we want. The internet is cloud access. It is the cloud. So anything you type into Google or anything that you save up into Google Drive or up in Microsoft or Dropbox, all of that is centralized database. So changes can be made by you, but we have unknown third parties such as Facebook and Equifax, all unknown, and our banks have unknown third parties that can access our data. Our personal data is being sold every day to marketing companies so that they can market us. And most of you already know who are working in blockchain. That's the reason for blockchain, right? We don't want to give our data away. We don't want people to, you know, what is it with the ads you get on YouTube? You know, it's so funny. I found myself talking to my brother. He says, I don't know what it is, but I've been snoring a lot lately. So, you know, I have my phone sitting next to us. And the next day I get all these ads on snoring and how can I stop snoring? And I'm like, wait a minute, this was a conversation I had with my brother. So there's certainly some target marketing going on and people are paying for it, and it's easily hacked. Your data is easily hacked. So why are we moving into Web 3.0, which is the blockchain technology, the decentralized data, which I like to take over here on the right side? When we move into a decentralized database or decentralized currency, it's encrypted, it's secure. You are the one that is in control of your data. You're not giving it away. You're not putting it up on the cloud. So then you are the one that's going to be able to give permission to the people who want to have your data, which is what we're all working on in blockchain, building this new web. So it's traceable and transparent. So I spent a lot more time on this slide, and I do teach a blockchain 101 class, which really spans about 3 hours on this slide. So it is transactional. And so, but what we're going to look at is the cryptocurrency part of it, because it is decentralized money. The scammer motivation, it's very easy to launder digital assets or digital proceeds. And then anybody who's on the internet searching for this particular subject is very easy to scam, unfortunately. So we're going to look at the psychology of the victim and the scammer, and then some scam examples. We're going to talk about law enforcement, and then have room for Q&A. Okay. So let's see. I want to just make sure we have, I'm on the same time here. Okay, we're good. So psychology of scammers and victims, because you have to look at the psychology of the victim as well as the scammer in order to be scammed, right? And I thought it was interesting that Laura also talked about psychology and how do we bring psychology into all of this, right? Well, I have been very much interested in psychology, and when you teach, you learn about, the workings of the brains. And of course, when you come from, you come from different places in society, you have the psychology. Okay, why did they say that, or why did they do that? And you wonder, how can people even scam? Well, we want to believe that human behavior, that everybody has love and compassion, right? And everybody is working from that space, especially as women, right? Because when we, sorry about that, guys, but we, that motherly love, right? We want to get the Band-Aid ready, and we want to make sure, everything's going to be okay, right? And we trust that that's the behavior that is before us. However, it isn't really that way with scammers. And scammers know this, so they take advantage of this human behavior and knowing that humans love attention, love the validation, right? You go and you talk to somebody, a good friend of yours, and they give you the kudos for doing what you're doing, and the attention, that we get from the work that we do, right? Some search for it and some get addicted to it. And this is where the psychology of the scammer comes along, because the scammer is getting a lot of attention from people who are seeking this cryptocurrency right now, or any scam. So here is a very interesting slide. So validation, attention, people who need validation are often prey to scammers. Now, there is a number one scam out there that is happening with women, and it is called a romance scam. And it does happen online dating or online social media. Scammers like the attention that victims give them. So it's a two-way street there with the communication that happens before the scam occurs. People who seek validation surround themselves with those who provide validation and attention. So there are a lot of people that will surround themselves with others that provide them the attention. This is a scam. Okay, well, it can be a scam. Validation of who they are and what they're doing. And then with this, some get addicted to the attention or validation. Scammers know what to say to fill this void. So when we look at the language, or communication is so important, scammers listen and learn what their victims want to hear. Okay, it's an amazing skill. Okay, listening to what the victims want to hear. It's a lot like a salesperson, right? So scammers' communications lure the potential victim into the trust, and that is a huge factor. Many times you will not receive a direct answer from the scammer. So you want to look for cues, memory recall, and NLP. So it's really an interesting, and language is important. Listen, body language doesn't happen when you're online. So you're trusting the text, okay, or the WhatsApp, or the the Facebook, the person that's on the other side of the screen. You're trusting the picture that shows up for you. So when you look at this slide, do you know who's scamming who? Do you really know? Okay, so we can assume that it's the man in the hooded sweatshirt that's scamming the woman, but working with CoinStructive, we've seen it on both sides. Okay, the picture shows up, and you don't know if that's the real person behind the screen, behind the text. So the romance scam, I mentioned this here because this is the #1 scam in online scam, period. It's the #1 online scam. So when we look at cryptocurrency scams, we have individuals that are sharing information saying, hey, you know what, you can invest with me. You just need to send your Bitcoin to me, or you just need to transfer to my exchange. And these are some of the scams we're seeing. So the romance scam goes off the language of love. Well, who doesn't like that, right? Listen, you get involved with somebody and they might sound, oh, they're so supportive. They listen to me. They're appealing. They're flattering. Oh, maybe they have a name of a movie star that they've put on their WhatsApp. And that's one thing we've seen as well. And we had a Canadian actor, his name that was being used in a scam. And they get it. They get me. Wow, they're giving me all this attention. Wow, how can this person be listening to me? So feeling connected and using extremely validating language, we're all suckers for it, and it feels good, right? The language of love, who can deny that? But what happens on the scammer side is they are increasing the level of trust. And so it is a perfect scam. And we've seen individuals be scammed out of over $250,000 because of this. So it really is unfortunate, the guise of the internet. And so this is why, we go into a decentralized world where we can control who's going to receive our information. Whereas in social media, anybody can, listen, people are sending me messages on LinkedIn. I've even got a fake profile that somebody had made of me on LinkedIn. So all this stuff can happen, right? But let's look at the technical aspect of the scam. So the scammer went out and convinced the woman to get an SBA loan. She went out and got an SBA loan because the scammer had, worked on the trust, and she got an SBA loan. She converted it to crypto and sent the crypto to the scammer. The scammer had an address and said, okay, I'm going to make money. You're going to profit. You're going to get, 20% profit on your. Sounds great to me, right? So now let's look at this. Victim's blockchain wallet. The victim, and if you can read this, this is going to be the pathway, what happens on the back end of the transaction. The victim has a wallet, a blockchain wallet. The scammer says, send it to my wallet. Okay, so we send it to wallet #1, wallet #2. So that's all the victim has, are those 2 wallet addresses, and sends the transaction. So this is 2 transactions right here. Moves it over to the suspect's wallet. Now the suspect, or the scammer, actually does transfer it to another wallet. They move it to another wallet. They move it to another wallet. As you can see, this happens 10 times. We have 10 transactions. With the victim sees it's just 2 transactions. But on the back end, the scammer is moving it from wallet to wallet to wallet, hoping that it won't be traced. But with our tracing software and what we do, it is traced, and we end up finding it. And I cut this off a little bit. You see it went to an exchange. It went to Binance. And now when funds get moved to an exchange, that's when we can get law enforcement involved. Law enforcement can actually subpoena and freeze the account on an exchange. If the money would have stopped here, let's just say in wallet #5, we wouldn't be able to access it because it is a decentralized wallet. And that's the purpose of decentralization, is the protection. However, when we're dealing with scammers, we want it to go into an exchange because we want to be able to recover the funds of the victim. Okay, so this was a success, and now it's up to the victim to pursue a police report, to file with the FBI, to file with the FinCEN and all of the regulators that can help with the investigation. Yeah, so here we go when we're looking at more addresses. Now, here it went to Binance. Then it goes to another wallet. We were able to track this all the way to, let's see, what do we have? 4 different Binance accounts because the money was broken up again. And this was through our tracing software. And this is part of what we do at Coinstructive, is go through and provide this reporting for the victim, so the victim can provide this to the law enforcement. Law enforcement doesn't have the tools at this point in time because this is all fairly new, right? So we provide this report for the victim so they can give to the police or to the FBI. And then with these exchanges being found and these addresses, then it is a subpoenable transaction. And so it does increase the chance then of the victim to recover their funds. But there is something called a tumblers and mixers, okay? Not just the washing machine. Here's the washing machine. So there's a lot of technology out there right now that can scramble up addresses. So this is where it gets a little tougher, but we do follow the money and to find out where does it go. So here's a coin mixer and a SIM swap. Now I'm just going to mention the SIM swap case really quick. If you're saving crypto on your telephone and you have a phone service with a SIM card, it is a scam that's out there where somebody, if maybe the phone company, somebody pretends like they're the phone company, they get your information, you know, so you want to watch out for that. If, you know, they're going to take your SIM information, then they'll have access to the funds and all your passwords on your phone. That's with the phone service. So I like to recommend people to use a phone that does not have phone service, where you can just connect with Wi-Fi. That's going to give you a lot of protection. And then you won't need to deal with the third party, the phone company, having access to your private information. Or keep your wallets on a separate phone than the one that you use every day. It's almost like you're carrying around a bar of gold, right? So you want to put it in your safety deposit box. Anyway, here's a coin mixer where the victim had a Coinbase account and they actually sent it to a scammer address. And then the scammer's address, here, if you can read this, is a scammer address number 2. They actually had a change address. So if you look at some of these websites or some of these wallets and exchanges, you are able to change your address. You don't need to use the same address every time. And so, gosh, off the top of my head, I can't think of, I think Kraken Exchange will allow you to do that. And as far as wallets go, you can use alternative or just new, you just press the button and say, would you like a new address? Yes, I'd like a new address. So you don't need to use the same address all the time, which makes it a little bit more difficult to trace. And this right here tumbles up the addresses, breaks up the transaction, and we've seen this be done where it makes it very difficult to find out where the funds are. So if we're following the money, what we do is we look at the victim's address right here at the beginning, goes to scammer address number 1, then we have scammer address number 2, and he uses some change addresses. The change address takes a part of the money. So now here the money is broken up, and this change address, we don't know, but we're going to follow it, moves into a mixer address, and then the mixer address it's kind of like rolling dice Yahtzee in one of the Yahtzee cups. You have the dice all in one cup, right? Which is here. And then when you put the dice out on the table, well, there it goes. You have, maybe this was $1,000 transaction, and then one of these would be 50 cents, and one of these would be $100. One of them would be $250. And so it breaks up the $1,000. So it makes the transaction very difficult to trace. This is software that's out there right now, and why scammers can be successful in this. So this is how intricate it can get. And I know this is going to be really hard to follow because it starts to get a little technical here, but these, let's say it started out $1,000 transaction. It can be broken up all the way down to the pennies, right? And then it gets even bigger, where you have all of these different transactions that can be traced. Now we can do this, but this would be quite a costly analysis that we would do to follow the money, but it is broken down quite a bit. And then we kind of lose all of the money as it's broken down as smaller increments. So this one is one that people, scammers can get away with. But if it does end up, let's go back here. If it does end up in an exchange account, then we absolutely can help to recover those funds with the help of law enforcement. Okay, so a Bitcoin mixer, what it does is it keeps transactions anonymous. Another scam is the ATM scam. We also had another romance scam where a gentleman convinced the woman to take money and go get and convert it to Bitcoin. She had his wallet address. He gave her his wallet address. And so when she went to the Bitcoin machine, she entered the money and his wallet address, and the money went right to his wallet. She didn't know anything about cryptocurrency, but she trusted him enough that he was going to make her money. So this is unrecoverable, and Bitcoin ATMs actually have this warning sign. If you have been asked to send Bitcoin using Bitcoin ATM, Craigslist, jobs, car purchases, anything, if anybody asked you to go to a Bitcoin machine, you want to avoid it because most likely it's a scam. Unless you're going for yourself and you're entering the money into your own wallet. Okay, that would be the only reason to use an ATM. Okay, so here's one. I like this one. So scam or no scam, everyone, your name is copied. You have a false profile made of yourself. Now, if you're active in social media, this has probably happened to you. It's happened to me. They copy your profile. The client asks you to send $1,500, and I think the client sends the money to the fake profile. No reputable person is going to ask you to send them money, okay, through Telegram or through WhatsApp. There are a lot of scams on Telegram and WhatsApp, even though it's a nice place to create a group and have the discussion going. Anybody who takes you off into private discussions that's a scam. So you want to check with the person that you know before you do that. Anybody that, like Najah's an educator in crypto and shows people how to use crypto. Myself as well, I spend a lot of time coaching people on how to use crypto or how to start their own account. We would never ask anybody for their money, right? You're the one in charge of your money. We will educate you and show you how to take care of your own money in this world. But this is a big scam, okay? So never send anybody any money on WhatsApp. So here's something that I've gotten on my YouTube channel, and a lot of people on their YouTube channel says, thanks for watching and commenting. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And here's my WhatsApp text. Text me and I'll help you make money. So I didn't put all of it in here, but that's a scam. So when you see those comments in somebody's YouTube, you're not going to go to that WhatsApp. You're not going to send them money. They're going to tell you that they can make you a lot of money in this, but that's a big scam. Here's one, very interesting. I had somebody text me and say, should I send money to this giveaway? Because there's a lot of giveaways right now on YouTube, on online social media. Here was the scam. Elon Musk decided to make a Shiba distribution. You send any amount of Shiba and then you receive double. And there's also Ethereum scams out there like this. Hurry before they are all distributed. Well, take a look at how they spelled the word distributed. It's in red. So it's distributed. So when you look at this, it's a legitimate website. I took a picture of it. It looks really legitimate. However, it's a red flag. If somebody says they're going to double the money, don't send anybody money that you don't know. Okay. You got to trust who you're working with. And this is definitely a scam. So when you're buying bulk Bitcoin, and there are a lot of people that are out there right now, you can do a bulk sale. We'll get it to you at cost. I remember back when there were, in the REO, which is a whole nother field, the real estate field, we can get you bulk real estate for wholesale prices. Well, that's going on right now with Bitcoin. If somebody's asking you, or if somebody's buying bulk Bitcoin, this is what needs to happen. It's not just going to be a buyer and a seller, which, by the way, they need to have a signed agreement. They need to have proof of funds and proof of wallet in order to make the transaction happen. But also there needs to be an escrow party, a neutral third party that's going to handle such a large transaction. In no way are you going to send that much money over to an individual without an escrow company, a neutral, and it's the same thing in a real estate transaction. You need an escrow party, somebody who's reputable and somebody that's going to hold custody of the money and of the Bitcoin before it's actually switches hands. So then you have proof of the transaction. So this is really important. And this is something that I make sure to keep the contacts of the escrows and the sellers right here, so they can all be matched up. Okay, so one thing, and I would say with any of the women speaking here today, that you have is good resources here that can help you with working with trustworthy people in this field. There is still a disconnect between law enforcement and crypto, and that's why CoinStructive helps with putting together a forensic report for law enforcement. Even though law enforcement works very hard, they're out there on the streets and just really fighting crime, you might find this. What is a crypto scammer? Remember Boss Hog? Can you help us out here? And so the answer is yes, we can. We can provide a forensic report, but we also are looking at how can we incentivize law enforcement to learn more about cryptocurrency and what to look for here. So anybody who's ever been scammed can certainly get a forensic report, an investigative report to give to law enforcement agencies. But what if law enforcement, state law enforcement, federal agencies, what if they actually were able to share a percentage of some of the recovered funds? And some of the victims that we've talked to said, absolutely, I'd be willing to share the funds if you can help me recover them. And so we kind of all have to work together in a team effort to make that happen, right? We just can't say, here, Mr. Police Officer, go find my funds, because this is a very technical subject we're dealing with. We're dealing with financial technology. And so we do need to have the proper tools in order to help law enforcement and incentivize them. And the other thing I want to talk on is this work on smaller cases to build bigger cases. And this is something we're finding out at CoinStructive. We have a couple of smaller cases that may just be leading to some larger cases. And we don't want victims to say, oh, you know what, I lost $10,000. Okay, I'm going to just write it off. I'm not going to do anything about it. But if somebody's lost money in a crypto transaction, it might just be tied to a larger transaction. And that was a transaction in working with we had a false broker, a false crypto broker who put a false job ad on LinkedIn and hired over 10 cryptocurrency brokers. Okay. Now, I was one of them, and this is how I found out about Coinstructive, and now I'm helping them to combat this. But so you want to watch out for anybody who says, in order to work with me, all brokers must deposit at least one Bitcoin. Well, this was back when Bitcoin was $2,000-$3,000, right? You must deposit a certain amount into this exchange before you can be a broker of that exchange. That would be a scam. And so also those smaller cases lead to the bigger case to find out who's really behind that scam, which company is really behind that scam. So anyway, how to protect yourself, establish healthy communication and boundaries. For anybody that's online, I know everybody wants to make money in cryptocurrency, but work with people who come from a place of education and advising, and that's not going to ask for your money. And then speak up, get a forensic report. Keep not your keys, not your coins. Remember, we're going to show you how to keep your keys and how to keep your coins, so you're not giving them away or you're not sending your money to somebody else's wallet. In any transaction, these are valid questions that you can ask. Ask for proof of wallet, ask for proof of funds. You can ask for proof of concept. Show me what coins you're talking about. Why are these good coins? Why should I buy them? And then when you're in doubt, you can always use an escrow company for a transaction. So again, behavioral, remember, we have that, fear of missing out. And you're not going to miss out. But if you're here right now and you're interested in getting into crypto, then you're not missing out. You're right at the very beginning of everything, but it's important for you to know who to trust. And here's my last slide here. Coinstructive, I'm working with Coinstructive. RF Capital, I'm going to just mention them real quick. They actually just came out with a stable coin. It's called the DAO. And so it's a really interesting project, but I have my YouTube up here. It's called Innovative Economy. And I do a lot of stuff in the space, and a lot of it is coaching, pretty much coaching and education. So if anybody has any questions on any of the investigations, I'm certainly available to answer those. And yeah, I think that wrapped up my presentation there. So are there any questions that came up, Najah?
Well, I think that was an incredible presentation. I just say woo, because and I always like to bring this back down to like the real life. So some of you may or may not know, I actually have an over-the-counter exchange, and I actually have a client that I am 100% sure that she's a part of a romance scam, but she will not listen to me. And so no matter what you do or say, they will not listen to you. So it got so intense one time with me talking to her, and she's an older lady. And by the way, Chris Brown, the singer, the dancer, is her boyfriend. And it got so intense with her that she said to me, you know what? If you won't sell me Bitcoin, I can go elsewhere and I can get my Bitcoin elsewhere. But what I told my husband and what I told my staff, if this is definitely not about me making money, because I mean, what we do for our community, like we literally are doing this for our community. So I can say that. But what I felt like is I wanted her to be with us and be a little more safer than going out and trying to meet somebody at like local Bitcoin, meeting somebody in a parking lot or an alley or something like that, because she was an older lady. And so we've had her actually as a client almost 6 to 8 months. And sometimes it just breaks my heart. But every single time she comes in, I'm saying, are you sure that's Chris Brown? I would really like to talk to him. I would really, because there is this thing called romance scam, and that this could possibly not be him. And she is just adamant about the pictures that she's getting and the conversations that she's having. And so, and when I just saw that again, I just think about, how many other women and men are out there that are getting themselves involved in these types of scams, and they have no idea. But then when you actually do come across someone, just convincing them that they're involved in something that they probably shouldn't be. And I'm not saying it's not Chris Brown. But I'm not saying it is Chris Brown either. But well, it's 9 times out of 10, it is not. And we're talking about women in blockchain. So this is one of my babies. Headed for school. I can't teach. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's what's happening. And so as long as she's getting the attention, the scam is going to continue. Now, the pain point hasn't hit her yet. So the psychology of the scam, of the romance scam, is when the pain point is high enough, when she's lost enough money, and that enough money is relative for you, for me, there's a certain point that says, okay, this is still not uncomfortable yet. And when it gets to be uncomfortable, and that usually is associated with pain, and then it's going to be emotional pain in a romance scam, right? But as long as she's not getting that pain point, she's going to continue. And that's with anybody that's lured into a romance, whether it's cryptocurrency or just a scammer that's taking advantage of an individual in a relationship. So it's just going to be, as long as she's getting the attention, then everything's fine. Unfortunately, you can't tell somebody. You can educate. Everybody's ready when they're ready.
Yeah, and that's what I had to let go. And I had to, even with my staff, I'm like, look, she is in her 60s. She knows. She knows when. And I didn't use the word pain point, so thank you. But I said, she'll have to know when enough is enough for her. So again, I appreciate you and the information that you shared. I don't know if we have any questions that have come up. But I was laughing as you were doing your presentation, and I saw the washing machine with the Bitcoin in there. It is definitely technically called a mixer. I like that washing machine presentation, because that is definitely what you feel like when you're trying to track the blockchain and seeing what different wallets things have been going to and how they've been dispersed and all those things. So, I really, 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 again, appreciate you coming on and breaking that down for each and every one of us. So if there are no more questions, I would like to say everybody can find you on social media. I see that you have everything up there for them, and you've given your contact information. We are ready. We are appreciative again of you coming on, and we are ready for our next hour. And in this next hour, before Laurie goes, you all are going to get my presentation. So when we come forward in this next hour, I will be teaching on Crypto 101, because people get into this space in all different ways. Some people come in through the metaverse. Some people come in just NFTs, and they have no idea what the foundation is, where it started from, how money works. And so I'm going to share that this next hour. And again, Laurie, you did an incredible job. Thank you for your flexibility. Thank you for your expertise. And I will see you at the top.
That's right. We'll see you. All right, everybody. All right. Take care.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this phenomenal International Women in Blockchain event. So, I am your host, Najah Roberts, and we're going to have an hour together to talk because most women, as I stated before, and men for that matter, come into this space by all different sorts of ways that they come in. But I really think that it's good to always go back to the fundamentals, where this space actually started, how it started, how we got to this cryptocurrency, non-fungible token, the metaverse space. And I know that the metaverse, is a little bit different, but I really like to start from the basics. So what I'm going to do is take this hour to really give you what I call sort of a crypto 101. And if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. I would love to answer any questions that anyone has. You'll be able to reach out to me on social media. As you see, my link tree is there. You can reach out to me wherever. I'm always open and willing. And I just want to say thank you to the founders and the technicians and the creators and everyone that put together this phenomenal event. International Women in Blockchain has been incredible. Just every single day has just been packed with so much great information. And so my wish today is that I bring you the value that you have given me over the past couple of weeks. It is incredible. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen, as I start to share my screen with you all today. So here we go. All right. And just a little bit about me really quickly. My name is Najah Roberts, as you know, and I am the Chief Visionary Officer of Crypto Blockchain Plug, which happens to be one of the only women-owned brick-and-mortar cryptocurrency exchanges in the world. And so what that means is people can come in and buy and sell Bitcoin from me. And I also have a bunch of educational courses. So I really try to help our community understand how money works and how this whole crypto thing fits into their everyday life. Because let's face it, people are just jumping in. They have no clue. And so that's what my organization is here to do. And my plan over the next 12 months is to open up 41 locations across the U.S. where people can walk in their neighborhood and get the help that they need, because 99% of all the things that we do in the cryptocurrency space are online. And I understand that. So let's jump right in. So how many of you as children heard the term, what you don't know won't hurt you? Well, I am here today to share with you that what you don't know will absolutely hurt you. And so when we understand everything that has to do with this space, and again, you got to go down a bunch of rabbit holes, but I'm going to help you go down this rabbit hole today. But what you don't know will absolutely hurt you. And I have a question to ask each and every one of you. And you can put it in the chat. You can just put it in your mind. I'm not here to embarrass anyone or take you through any political science or anything like that. But I have a question to ask you. In your mind, say to yourself, yes or no. So is the Federal Reserve Bank a federal entity? And again, yes or no, and I'll give you a chance to think about that. Is the Federal Reserve Bank a federal entity? And I know that a lot of you are saying no, that it's not a federal entity. And on the other hand, a lot of you are saying yes, that it is a federal entity. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me give you this bit of information. The Federal Reserve Bank is no more federal than Federal Express that drops the packages off at your door. And for so many years, we thought that the Federal Reserve Bank was a federal entity. But guess what? These are the grandfathers of the Federal Reserve Bank. They are all the grandfathers of the banks that you know well. That would be your Chase, your JP Morgan. That would be your Deutsche, your Fifth Third, your New York Bank. All the banks that you know, those grandfathers got together in 1913 and created the Federal Reserve Bank. So in stating that, ladies and gentlemen, please know, and I need you to keep this in mind as we're talking, wherever the money is kept, that is where the power is. Whoever holds the money, that is where the power is. So in 1913, these men got together on an island called Jekyll, Jekyll. It's off the coast of Georgia. And they created the Federal Reserve banking system because they realized that they weren't each other's competition. In fact, if they all came together, because one owned the bank and another one owned the bank and another one owned the bank, if they put together a system by which every dollar, penny, nickel, quarter in this world had to come through them at some point, they would be absolutely wealthy. And since 1913, ladies and gentlemen, they have done exactly that. And so as we move forward, let's just keep this in the back of our mind as we start to learn a little bit more. For those of you that want to, and I tell everybody, don't trust me, verify. Look up The Creature of Jekyll Island. You can watch it on YouTube or you can order the book, but it is really a great read and it'll help you understand how money works specifically in the United States. So we're going to talk really quickly about how we got to this cryptocurrency thing, because in order to know how we got to where we are, you need to know where we've come from. And so really quickly, we'll go through. We started off as humans bartering. We bartered everything. If you had a cow and I had a chicken, you had the milk and I had eggs, we would barter. If I was cold and I needed a coat, I would go to somebody that had the wool. We did that bartering, but then it became hard because if all I had was chickens and you had the cow and I needed an entire cow to hold my family over for the winter, like I'd have to give you 200 or 300 chickens. Like there was no way to really gauge it. So throughout history, we have looked as human beings for different things to help us gauge who had the wealth, but also what we needed for means of exchange for goods and services. So let me stop right here and say to you that money, ladies and gentlemen, can be anything. And I say anything that someone is willing to trade with you for goods and services. So if today we decide that sticky notes is the new money, it can be that if there's a community of us that will use it. So throughout history, we've done everything and used everything from sticks to salt in the ocean, to rocks, to tulips, the flower. Yes, the flower. And again, don't trust me, verify. But the problem with those things is they were not scarce. If I wanted to show that I was the richest person in the village, what I would do is run out and get a bunch of sticks because that was the medium of exchange. And it also showed who had the best wealth, the most wealth. So, that wouldn't work out too well for some of us that are dealing on a little slippery slope, right? And so we had to find something, ladies and gentlemen, that could stand the test of time, but could not just be gone out and gotten at will. And so about 5,000 years ago, we found this beautiful substance in the earth and we called it gold. So 5,000 years ago, we started mining for gold. And when we started mining for gold was used for a store of value, but it was also used in the United States for people to trade for goods and services. And so it has been so. And as you know, with this going back and forth with cryptocurrency right now versus gold, people are saying, gold is a hedge against inflation and all these different things. And people are saying Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation. And so we're going back and forth, but our bout back and forth between the two is about gold and what the properties gold actually offer are some of the properties that Bitcoin actually offers. And so we'll get into that in a little while longer, but in a little while later. But 5,000 years, we have been using gold as a store of value and a medium of exchange. So no matter where you go in the world, they will definitely accept your gold if you're able to take it and carry it across wherever, across borders. So that being said, here in the United States in 1931, 33, there started to be some talk about what they should be doing with all the people that were holding the gold and not bringing it into the banks, the Federal Reserve banks. And so they got together with Congress, ladies and gentlemen, and this is a real slide. This is a real document. This is not fake. This is not phony. Again, do not trust me, verify. Well, in 1933, our president made an executive order very, very similar to the one last week that stated that if you had gold, and you can read it right here, if you had gold bullions or coins or any gold in any shape, form, or fashion, that it needed to be turned over to the Federal Reserve Bank. Not in a month, not in a year. Ladies and gentlemen, people had 3 weeks to turn their gold over to the Federal Reserve Bank. Now, remember, I just told you who owned the private company called the Federal Reserve. That is our bankers. So all of the gold in the United States had to be turned over within 3 weeks. If you had it at home, in your business, under your bed, in the cellar, buried in the ground, it had to be turned in, or you would go to jail. This is a presidential executive order. And they took that gold and they put it in Fort Knox. So we all know well about Fort Knox and where the gold was stored. So that is how that happened. But then how do I go to the store? If I give you my gold, I no longer can go to the general store. I no longer can buy my covered wagon. I no longer can buy this new Model T Ford that's coming out. What are you going to give me in exchange? And so what they gave in exchange, ladies and gentlemen, were these metal coins. And you would get silver in equivalent amount to what you gave in gold. Now, because they were setting the price of the gold, they were able to tell you what coins that you needed to make that equivalent. So they gave out these metal coins. So you would get an equivalent in silver based on your gold, or copper. Can you imagine that? Copper for your gold, or nickel for your gold. And it goes on and on and on. But we know that now in 2022 that most of these coins do not hold or are not created with the precious metal that they initially were back then. But this was a way to get us out of our gold into what they're doing in this system right now. So once we got acclimated to these new coins, they started printing these things. Does anybody know what these are? This is called fiat. So go to your Webster's dictionary. You don't have to, because I've already done it for you. And basically what fiat stands for is money without any intrinsic value other than what the government says that it's worth. Now, why is that? They have our gold. They gave us these coins. We're now using the fiat money that has no value other than what the government says that it's worth. And other parties are willing to engage with you. Remember, I said money can be anything that people are willing to accept for goods and services. And so everyone agrees on this value. So everybody's using this right now in this space. So the next question I am going to ask you is, our fiat money backed by gold? Anybody know? Are we backed by gold? And the answer to that, ladies and gentlemen, is no, because President Nixon took us off the gold standard in the 70s because the gold that our Federal Reserve bankers had came up missing. And ladies and gentlemen, we don't know where that gold is today. And so in the progression of this evolution of money, so we went from the gold to the coins, to the fiat, to the credit cards. And then next up, ladies and gentlemen, we got into this thing called Zelle, PayPal, and Venmo. Right now, you're already in the digital space. It just looks a little bit different because it is based on the fiat currency. So if you're using Apple Pay or anything of the sort, you're already in the digital space. And then in our progression, we moved to this cryptocurrency. So cryptocurrency is the latest stage in the financial evolution. And so we are going to make sure that you're understanding. Before I get going really quickly, I just want to let you know that I'm not saying get all into cryptocurrency 100%. I'm telling you to add cryptocurrency to your portfolio because it can definitely save you from what is about to occur if you have your 401k, your self-directed IRAs, or cash that you hold in your savings account or money markets account, and all of those things. So let's do this. Let's go to the next slide here. Do not go all in. So cryptocurrency is the latest stage. So what is cryptocurrency? It is a digital asset that lives online. It is not backed by any government. It is decentralized, and we've heard what decentralized is a couple of times today. It is meaning that no one person owns or controls it. Our Federal Reserve Bank and our banks are centrally controlled, and we want to get out of that space. And so cryptocurrency allows us to have that opportunity. So who uses it? As we know, in El Salvador, it is legal tender. This is just some of the movie stars and individual influencers that we know. There's Fortune 500 companies that are using Bitcoin right now. I put some of them on the screen. As we know, Akon is building an entire smart city around cryptocurrency over in Africa. We've got a couple of NFL players that are accepting Bitcoin for their salaries. But what is Bitcoin? It is the first cryptocurrency that was created on the blockchain. It is the godfather of cryptocurrencies. And so when I'm trying to explain to people about the other coins out there, Bitcoin being the number one cryptocurrency, it was designed to be a peer-to-peer system of payments online that did not require a third. I'm not even going to call them a trusted third party, but a third party, because they're definitely not to be trusted based on how much interest they give us on the money that we hold in the bank. But Bitcoin has grown into lots of different things. It's absolutely a technology, but it's a currency. It's an investment. And there is a community of users around the world that utilize it. So who created Satoshi Nakamoto? Is the person that created Bitcoin. We don't know whether this is a man, a woman, one person, group of people, black, white, Asian, Hispanic. We have no idea. But they use a pseudo-anonymous name, Satoshi Nakamoto. And I really feel like they were very, very smart because of the fact that they just kept themselves anonymous. So they didn't wind up in court or in jail for trying to disrupt the current system. So why Bitcoin? Bitcoin was created to give power to the people. Again, it's decentralized, but there will only ever be 21 million. Remember, I talked about scarcity and how all the other things that we've used throughout history have not been scarce, including our fiat dollar, which last year and the year before last, they printed more in those years than they did in 30 years. Bitcoin is scarce because there will only be 21 million of them ever. And ladies and gentlemen, there are more millionaires than there is Bitcoin that will ever be created. So if you hold just a little bit of it, you will be in a really good space once the scarcity and once it really kicks in, and which I believe it will in the next 2 to 5 years. That being said, how do we break this down? There are 100 pennies in a dollar, and Bitcoin, you can break it down fractionally as well. There's fractional parts, and there we call them Satoshis as well. So there's 100 pennies in a dollar, and there's 100 million Bitcoin in 100 million Satoshis in a Bitcoin. 100 million Satoshis in a Bitcoin. So today you can buy 1 million Satoshis, and that'll cost you roughly $470, just depending on what the price of Bitcoin is. So I'm suggesting that every family holds in their portfolio as a savings at least 1 million Satoshis. That's the start. And then I would say for every family member, then you start to acquire 1 million Satoshis per family member. And you know, I know people are involved in all sorts of other things, NFTs and buying stuff inside the metaverse. I just think that that's icing on the cake. But I think that you need to build the foundation first with your Satoshis, because that is what we will know and will be our medium of exchange, I believe, in the very, very near future. So it has global acceptance around the world, except for China. Places like that have banned it, but they have their own central bank digital currencies that are going to be coming out. And so they banned it not because it was bad, but because they wanted to put theirs in place of Bitcoin before Bitcoin really took a real root in their communities, in their country. Bitcoin is very portable, unlike gold. You cannot walk $10 million worth of gold across state lines or out of the country for that matter, but you can with Bitcoin. It's absolutely portable. Does not cause hyperinflation. Anytime you're printing as much money as stays printed, it causes inflation. I will say this really quickly. Cryptocurrency trades 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It is not like our current stock market where it trades it stops on Friday, opens back up on Monday. Does not do that. But ladies and gentlemen, I also want you to know that there are over 16,000 coins, and I am not exaggerating. There are over 16,000 cryptocurrencies out there. You have to be very careful what you invest in. As a recovering coinaholic, I will tell you, all coins are not created equal, so be very careful when looking at them. Everybody's coming up with coins. Disney has Dragon Chain. Nike's just filed a patent for crypto kicks. Pepsi Cola, every time you turn over a bag of potato chips, you will see Pep Coin. They're getting people ready for what they need to be doing in this next stage of the evolution of money. So where do you go to buy these cryptocurrencies? You buy them at an exchange or on a digital wallet. And coincidentally, we actually own both. We have a digital wallet called the Black Wall Street Wallet, and I also have an exchange called Crypto Blockchain Plug. And you can find me on social media and ask questions about that. But I thought it was very, very important that we know where not to buy cryptocurrency. No, 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 no. That is what this screen is, an absolute no. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, metaverse is all NFTs. They're all about self-sovereignty, controlling your own destiny, controlling your own funds. We are talking about you are in control. If you buy from any of these 5 platforms, ladies and gentlemen, you have defeated the entire purpose. Venmo, PayPal, Robinhood, Webull, and SoFi. Keep your Bitcoin. They never allow you the ability to put it in your own wallet. That is not self-sovereignty. That is doing the exact same. Actually, that's worse than the bank. At least the bank will allow you to go get your money. You might have to fight and argue why, but they won't even let you take your Bitcoin off these platforms. Do not buy from these platforms. These are wallets, and we can talk about that at a later date, but wallets are where you store your Bitcoin. Where Bitcoin, well, they're not where you store your Bitcoin, but these wallets give you self-sovereignty. You can take control of your passwords, your keywords, your seed phrases, but these devices allow you access to the blockchain to move it. When you're on a lot of those other exchanges, you don't have your private keys. And as we say, not your keys, not your coin. You do need to learn about what wallets are and how they play into helping you in this cryptocurrency space. So, I said, we want everybody to get started with cryptocurrency by going to an exchange and getting it and then moving it to your private wallets. And I guess at this time, it'll probably be best to say, take out your cell phone if you need to, snap a couple of pictures, because I am going to go through really quickly some of the things that I offer to help educate. I have a platform called the Underground Railroad. For some of you may or may not know, I call myself the young Harriet Tubman of the digital space, leading my people out of financial slavery, hence the virtual Underground Railroad, where I share information and news about what we need to be doing in our communities to get ahead of what's coming down the pipe. I am taking a digital revolution tour. I travel across the country in an RV, really educating all communities, people that are in underserved communities, about cryptocurrency, and we are headed to a city near you. I'm also Monday through Friday on a radio show called Ahead of the Crypto Curve. You can find me there. You just download the app. It's an app on your phone. You don't have to live in the Los Angeles area. It's an app. You can go and download it. And today, I'm going to I talk about all sorts of different subjects as it relates to this space. So please go there. And then I do stuff all month long to really just help people get into the space and get in where they fit in, whether it's Bitcoin and beauty shop, Bitcoin and barbershop, cigars and crypto. I do all kinds of stuff. We also have a crypto kids camp that children can attend. Again, get with me on social media. And this is my information. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I know that you know, a lot of people really get into cryptocurrency all sorts of different ways. I think it's important, though, that we really understand where our monetary system came from and how we got to cryptocurrency, because it's critically important in understanding that money can be anything. So when people say, well, how are you using this Bitcoin thing or these other coins or these other tokens, and they're not backed by anything? Well, they don't need to be backed by anything. They're backed by social construct, because people are using them for all sorts of different things. But I will say to you, and I know I get maybe I won't get so much kickback today because we are in a full-fledged war in other parts of the country, of the world, excuse me. But I always say that our dollar is backed by war. Unfortunately, if people don't do what we say, we go to war with them, and we take our dollar and we hold them hostage and say they can't use it or whatever. But Bitcoin, as you have seen over the last several weeks, has been something that people are like, okay, take your dollar. We have other alternatives. I say to you that this cryptocurrency thing is another alternative, and people are waking up to the fact that we don't need entities to govern and hold our monies. We can do it on our own, and we can do it quite well. And so I'm really, really excited about this decentralized space. And I hope that this has helped you understand how we got to this thing called cryptocurrency. Then we've gone off into our non-fungible tokens, and a lot of those things are being utilized inside of the metaverse to buy things. And so, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. I appreciate your time. And Yika, I look forward to any questions that anyone may have. I know we got about 3 minutes to answer questions, so I appreciate you all. Have an incredible morning.
Hi, Najah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that wonderful, thorough intro to cryptocurrency, actually money, right? Because I don't think anyone has really had that deep dive into how we even got here with the Federal Reserve, as well as, knowing the fact that at one point the US dollar used to be weighed against the gold. I know for one, I did not know about the 1933 executive order that required everyone to give up their gold in exchange for currencies as we know it now. And I thought that was powerful. As someone that's getting into this space, a lot of hesitancy, and I think you've alluded to it, is the fact that a lot of people think that this is fake money, right? This is not something that's legitimized in their sense or their realm, right? And we know that a lot of governments or countries are looking at forming their own digital currency. So we know that whatever Satoshi Nakamoto thought of at that point, that, he probably never imagined that the very system that he was hoping that this digital currency would be an alternative to is now trying to tap into that whole concept and create their own. What do you think about that?
Oh man, all I say to you is the CBDCs, the central bank digital currencies, is going to allow our government to do so much more than they're doing right now. Mm-hmm. It is going to give them a hand on the entire pulse of your spending habits. Every single thing that you do once CBDCs roll in is going to be visible to them. You go out right now, you get some money out of the bank, and a lot of times you go into the bodega, you buy things with cash, like you just do if you have it. You know what I'm saying? If you have the cash, like they don't know you bought a stick of gum, you bought this. But once CBDCs come into place, they're gonna know when you bought a stick of Wrigley's gum. They're gonna know everything. You don't even think of those things. Like, why is that important? But it is definitely not for everybody to know every single iota thing that you do. And so, it's just going to be very interesting. I am definitely not an advocate for in wanting to see a CBDC come down. I do know that we need to have our Bitcoin. We need to focus and really hone in on this decentralized space. And I know that, you know, and everything that we're talking about is all about decentralization. So you have your choice to get back into a system with the CBDCs, and you may not have a choice. They may start paying you at work with those CBDCs, but figure out a way to be able to get yourself into the decentralized side of this. Like, there's no need to go back to dictator. I don't want to say dictatorship, but I like rules now, ladies and gentlemen. I like rules, but I don't like rulers. And so when we're looking at this, the new things that are happening, make sure that you're understanding there's no need for Bank of America or Bank of New York or any of them to hold on to your Bitcoin for you, because you're not a responsible adult. You are a responsible adult. Don't fall into that. You know, that's what I can caution you all. Just stay decentralized as much as you can, as much as you can. And I know, you know, being on the blockchain, you're decentralized, but you're not traceable. But just as much as you can. And that's what I would have to say to that.
No, I love the fact that you brought that on, and I wish we had more time, but you know what? It's a question that we need to dive into with the whole custodial aspect of banks entering into this space and saying that they can custody your crypto.
Yeah.
I look forward to having you back next week for Mind Your Money Mondays. It's always informative, and I really appreciate you taking on this segment and the wonderful speakers that you have brought on. So thank you very much, Najah.
Thank you, and I appreciate you and your patience. Much love.
Go get some rest.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. All right, we will be right back. We will have two more speakers before we end the segment, and you guys will be thrilled to have these wonderful ladies who are our next speakers come up and talk about what they're bringing to this space and the companies that they're working with. So we're just going to take a quick intermission, and we'll be right back. All right. So our first speaker that we're bringing up this section of the segment is Gloria Kimwala. Gloria is a good friend of mine. She is an avid of this whole entire space. Hey, Gloria, how are you? And I want her to talk about what she's bringing to this space. So, Gloria, I'll leave it up to you. Go ahead and introduce yourself and what you're working on.
Yeah, thank you so much, Olinka. Hi, my name is Gloria, and I have been in the crypto space for about 4 years now. And I work at GetCoin. I work with both people who are coming into the space building on things and people who are different, like technologies, layer ones, layer twos, trying to find new people in the space. As well, beyond that, I work on the Ukraine DAO, as well as on getting different people from different backgrounds into the space and helping them on board. So I've been in the space for quite a bit of time. And one of the things of how I fell into the space was I used to work formally at Square. And so I was I worked with the Cash App team. I was interested in the process of moving money And traditionally with moving money, there's lots of hurdles, trying to move it internationally, trying to store money if you have a background that works with things that might exclude you from having like an actual bank account. It makes things a little bit difficult. So when we had those hurdles, I basically was on maternity leave, and during my maternity leave, I wanted to see like who else was in the process of moving money and had kind of overcome some of these barriers. And I fell into blockchain and crypto. And I, unlike Najah, I am not the Bitcoin maxi. I fell into the Ethereum community. So I have a technical background. I understand how to build tokens. I can build, NFT platforms. I'm a builder by heart. And so my role at GetCoin now is to actually help other people use their skills and talents to build these, the ecosystem that the whole blockchain technology is built on. So I'm definitely much more tech focused, but I wanted to kind of explain to you not only my journey, but how you can also come and share your skills in this space as well. When I started in crypto, I was married, we had our finances, and I was not allowed to use actual like money in order to take a risky financial approach. And so what I had to do was earn crypto. And so I entered hackathons, I did projects, I did whatever I could to earn crypto that I thought would be valuable. And then I held on to whatever I earned. So at the time, the first project I did, I earned it by contributing to the documentation of, I think it was Colony. And I earned one Ethereum token. And at the time it was $175. And I just held on to it for, till even now, which is great because you can just continue to build it and earn things that way. Now there's other ways to start to earn crypto. And at GetCoin, we really help people earn. And so there's a couple ways we do that. One of them would be to do a bounty where someone has a task for you to do, and the task could be, something technical like, create an NFT marketplace, or it could be something non-technical. Sometimes they have things that are just, can you explain can you explain what blockchain is? Can you do a social media post upon it? Can you, there's quite a bit of range on what they would want. Can you make a logo for something? So it's really like taking some of those skill sets. These bounties are usually like one-off things that people just need a different tasks to be done, but it's a great way to earn your crypto, and it can be a lot of different tokens. It's not just Bitcoin, it's not just Ethereum. There's a lot of layer ones that are building upon it that have bounties, as well as different layer twos and different like marketplaces. There's a lot of people that come to us for it. Beyond that, there is, hackathon prizes that you can earn it. You can actually have a grant. Right now, we're in grants rounds at GetCoin. And a grant would be, how we do grants at GetCoin is that we use what's called quadratic funding, which just sounds very mathematical, but it's really what I think is like an old system. It's a mathematical equation that kind of allows people to have power. And for me, who's like the rebel, the anarchist, I think a lot of about like, what was it, Public Enemy, that had like power to the people, fight the power to the people aspect. What quadratic funding allows you to do is that if you have multiple people that are giving to your fund or to your organization, you get a bigger pool of the matching pool. And I actually can show you a little bit what this quadratic funding looks like. I'm going to drop a link in the chat. Let's see if I can do that. Actually, I don't know if I can drop a link in the chat. I'll drop this in the main chat and see if we can't post into it. But I think I should be able to share my screen. And I'm going to share my screen to show you what it will look like. So hopefully this works. Let's see. Perfect. Sorry about this. But basically what quadratic funding is that you would have, here we go. Okay, so hopefully you can all share my screen. It's mathematics. But what quadratic funding is that if there was a matching amount and there was 4 different projects, you'd be able to have, a different number of grants within the projects itself. And so if you wanted to add to their contribution, let's say the matching amount was $1,000 and someone had $75 actually contributed to it. Well, there's only one grant with it. The $75 was funded, the matching amount would be the whole $1,000. But if someone else came through and had, $10 and then $20 and then $30, or wait, how is that? $45. Again, now both of them equal $75, but grant number 2 gets more of the matching pool because more people funded this one grant. And so it's this whole concept of being able to not have one person overtake and have their decision go forward, but really have the amount of people decide how a project should move forward. That's quadratic funding, but quadratic tokenization also means being able to do quadratic voting. And quadratic voting would be something where if people decided, if there's one person, they paid a lot of money towards something, usually in traditional voting, you might not get what you wanted to move forward. But quadratic voting allows the people that have tokens to be able to vote based on the amount of tokens that they have. But it still also goes by the amount of people that are possible too. So, and thank you, Ms. Blue Fryer. Happy Pi Day to y'all. So what we use quadratic voting for at GetCoin is to actually fund the grants. And so our matching pool at GetCoin is right now during this grants round, 3 million. And in those 3 million, it's broken down into different matching pools that are based on different groups. So it can be like a matching pool for Africa, a matching pool for diversity, a matching pool for climate change, and people can try to get different sections of that matching pool. The people donate in crypto, and they donate in XDAI, they can donate in Algorand, they can donate in Ethereum, and they can donate to a plethora of organizations that you want to contribute to. And that's a way where you can really earn your crypto. It's not based on just having a technical project. You can have a podcast, you can have a magazine, you can have an event that needs funding. And it's just the way that your community can give back to you, almost like a small Kickstarter, but with crypto. And then you can get the matching pool that's also there for you. So that's one of the ways that we try to get people to start to get crypto back in their pockets. And the last way that I really try to encourage people to earn their crypto is by working for a DAO. And a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. So it's an organization that you can bring your skills to and start to get paid in the token of that DAO. And so for people who work for orgs, you would traditionally, then off-ramp that money that you'd make in the DAO and then, bring it to cash if you have to pay for things in cash and live off the money on that DAO, or you can trade it for wherever anyone else is accepting crypto. But it allows you to be A, bankless if you want to be bankless, but B, DAOs are flat structures. They're usually flat orgs. And if you have contributions that you can then bring to the org or skill sets that you can bring to the org, you can do so in that organizations. And that the benefit of working in this DAO is that you usually have to just do it per task. So if you, let's say, speak another language and you want to translate documents, you can translate documents for, whatever DAO needs translation. So it could be GetCoin, it could be her DAO, it could be, all these different DAOs that are out there. There's thousands of DAOs out there, but you could use that task and just be that person, and it allows you to have more flexibility of work. I mean, there's no one micromanaging you. There's things of that nature, but it allows you to be more flexible with the work that you are doing, and allows for you to earn crypto that way too. And so this is what we consider to be like the internet of jobs, or the future of work within the crypto space, is being able to work at your convenience, work for a DAO. The most DAOs are distributed all over the world, so you don't have to be in like the one location. You can be wherever you want to be and to live, which for me allows me to travel and go to some of these conferences and still work. So there's those couple of ways to earn crypto, and to make your money kind of work for you from that regards. There's many other ways once you have crypto to like even increase your earnings, whether you're going to practice yield farming, where you're going to take some different DeFi strategies and things of that nature. But that would be the best way to continue to earn your crypto there. So yeah, the space moves pretty fast, and it's a lot less traditional than the traditional workplaces. I think we're really used to like applying for jobs and hoping that we get in, and then having our 40 hours and at one company, and then getting paid what we hope we're worth. But within the crypto space, you can start to contribute to an organization right away. The jobs are listed, pretty clearly with how many hours they think it's going to take, and then how much crypto that you're going to be able to earn during that time. And then you're able to kind of be in more control of your own career and your own skill set. It can be a little scary for people who are like parents like me. Like, I'm a single mom, so it can be a little bit difficult sometimes when it's if you're used to the traditional system where you're signed up for a year, and you kind of have those type of guidelines. But the other side that's a benefit is like, if you're good at what you do, you can do it all over the place. And a lot of times just working in a DAO helps you understand the skill sets within the industry, and you can continue to do what you need to do within the workforce. So yeah, that is the spots of getting into crypto, getting into the DAO spaces, and what I do at GetCoin. If you have any questions regarding like the GetCoin grants, or you want to take a look at the matching pools that are available, you can always go to getcoin.co/grants, and it will show you all the different matching pools that we have available. There's, I think, about 1.2 million in the main round. If you're dealing with climate change, there's about 500,000. If you're dealing with gaming, there's 100K. If you're dealing with NFTs or dealing with anything with that marketplace, there's about 50K. And there's a couple of different ones that are very technology specific as well. But yeah, that's pretty much the main thing from GetCoin's perspective of what I do. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have regarding like the technology, or how you get started, or how to build your brand, or what you should do with your wallets from a technical perspective. But I won't answer any questions about like investment strategies or anything like that. So if you do have questions, feel free to comment in the chat. I'm more than happy to answer them. But the main thing I can suggest for you is to just get started. If you don't have the money to really try to buy crypto currently, get started in a way of earning them, whether it is participating in a bounty, or setting up a grant, or being a participant in a DAO. Those are all great ways to start earning crypto for you.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much, Gloria, for providing that information. That's one thing that I'm always trying to tell people. There's so many ways to acquire crypto in the space. I heard of an individual that was actually able to make a living off of just participating in bounties. Like they're semi-retired. Every time there's a bounty, they come out of big GetCoin bounties, actually, because you guys have a very good, healthy amount for a bounty prize. and they will come off I guess their semi-retirement, participate in the bounty, win them, and then go back. I'm like, that's a wonderful way to live, right?
Yeah, I have a lot of people who actually do that. We have our grants round hackathons 4 times a year. And so, and they last for 3 weeks. And so I had individuals that were making more money working on these bounties those 3 times a year than they were when they were at their work, which was like the best engineering job that they had in the country. And they really enjoyed it because they were able to be at home with their family for, the rest of the 2 months, and then took a month and worked on these Get Coin bounties and always did great work, and then would go back to being with their families. So you can definitely make a living off of bounties platforms if you want to, which is like absolutely fabulous. We have quite a bit of people who do that.
Yeah. So what kind of individuals do you think participate in bounties?
Yeah, we have a full range. So we do have people who are super technical, and they, are the ones who are really good at dealing with like some of these really hard bounties that are available. But we also have people who are like content creators, and we have people who are writers, and people who are designers, and we have just a whole range of people that participate in these bounties. We just finished a hackathon that was called the Codeless Conduct Hackathon, and all of those bounties were for people who did not code, and so they had things that were like, read this article on token economics and describe how it would benefit your community. And they had little bounties there that they were able to win. Again, when I look at how I earned my crypto, they were from these little bounties, and before I understood, what was going on. And I think it's great for those who are getting started because it helps you just learn more, and it helps people kind of retain what they've learned, but also other people's insight is helpful for us so that they can kind of give us more feedback on, how clear the documentation is, or like if there's someone who doesn't have a technical background trying to use the coin, like what hurdles do they occur with. And so a lot of times communities are looking for people who are just engaged. This space is so new that being engaged and providing feedback is probably one of the best ways for people to get onboarded into some of these other DAOs that are always hiring too. So.
Awesome. So you guys heard it here. Gitcoin, GITCOIN.co. Go there. I've been telling everyone, seriously, ever since, you and I connected and I started diving into Gitcoin, I realized that this is definitely an avenue that more people need to tap into, especially more females, right? Because you guys you run a gamble, you have everything. You have hackathons, you have bounties, you have grants. And there's always money to be made in those series of areas, right? And I've heard of hackathons and people being involved in that as well. And I'm really excited that you guys have a no code bounty out there. So that should be something that everyone should tap into. Get involved. Even if you don't win, I think it's an opportunity for you at least to understand what goes on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think within this space too, I think there's like just this misconception that you can only like contribute to the space if you're A, super technical, or B, have a lot of money, and that's not it at all. I think my son, who's 12, of course, he has me as a mom, but we collect coins all throughout the year, and then whatever coins he gets, he puts into Coinstar, and he's able to buy his crypto with that. And now he's into different DAOs too, and they have like meme parties. The meme party scene at Getcoin is huge, and so he like creates memes and gets his little crypto from the memes that he creates, and it's really fascinating to watch people, just be able to create, to gain income from this. And he asked me the other day if he could use his college savings fund just to put it in different coins so that he can earn the interest that's there. Because he knows more about the communities that he's in than I do. And so it's just fascinating that he's learning the system that is there, because this is a brand new system, and it's important for us to all participate in these systems, especially a financial system, if we want to create one that's going to be lucrative for all different types of people. But I also think that by the time my 12-year-old starts to work in 6 years, this will probably be the way the industries are run in the workforce.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm trying to get my daughter to be more in tune with everything that's going on as well. So I will definitely start introducing her to Gitcoin and what they have there. I've been able to participate in the grants, and I love that whole structure. I love the quadratic, funding that they have. And I think it works effectively. And we have a lot of communities out there that are willing to tap into whatever grant proposals, right? That, individuals put out there. And one thing that I suggest that people do is go to these grants, even if you don't believe that, you're ready for a grant, or maybe your concept or your idea is ready for a grant. Go look at the previous grants. You guys have that on the site, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that people think like they have to have established like websites, or they have to have established like 10 million in funding, or even 10,000 in funding. This is not for that. These grants are, a lot of these communities where you're starting up and you just have an idea that you were thinking about getting funded, fund it. Some of the times it's like having a teaching session in blockchain for kids in Compton, right? Okay, great. Don't use your whole money to do that. Like, put up a grant and let's let people donate towards it. And I think that what traditionally happens, especially for people like us, when we have an idea and we try to get it funded, we go one of two ways. We either bootstrap it ourselves and make ourselves like broke, or we try to get VC funding and give so much of our proprietary insight to different VCs. And this structure allows us to crowdfund it in a way where our communities actually have a way for us to fund it, or at least show like, no, this is really important to our communities, which most VCs don't quite understand, the difference with their communities. But this is also a way where you don't have to take so much out of your own pocket in order to start your idea. So you can start your idea, your community can provide you feedback right away. There's a lot that we see happening with these grants, and we've seen whole organizations just start from grants and keep doing grant round after grant round after grant rounds. And now they're big enough to where they have their matching pool, and they will go back and seed the new grants coming up. And so it's this whole concept in crypto that's called regenerative crypto economics. And what it is like, you can either create a system or aqueduct to continue to fund the rest of the system and keep the money circulating and keep it continuing as you grow.
Yeah. Well, I love that. The community seeking help, and then the community coming back to give assistance, right? That's fantastic. And I just want to thank you for presenting and coming on and talking about, what you bring to this space, because I know you bring a whole host of things. And your work from Square to now Gitcoin, and the work that you're doing across the ecosystem, I really thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm all about let's get our community to have the power again. I think like there was an article that just came out that was talking about how mortgage rates for Black people, like I can't remember the org, but that they denied 50% of them. And I was just like, when it comes to African American community and finance, we're usually very affected by the inequality of power and money. And I'm all about having any system that gives us back more of a leverage between power and money, and allows us to fund ourselves, or allows us to benefit our communities in the way that we want to benefit them. And, I think that Black women can change the world, really, if given the opportunity to. And now having all the different systems out there, we can do it. All we need is to not be held back by others, and to be able to just thrive and flourish. And there are systems out there that are not our traditional systems, but they're systems that you can jump into and flourish right away. And all you got to do is have the time and the grit to learn it. But Black women are brilliant. We learn everything that we're in. We flourish all the time. And so don't let anything really hold you back. Just continue to give it a try and apply your brilliance into the space, whether it's earning crypto, talking to other people about it, starting with a little bit of money to invest in yourself back and invest in your future. And it's definitely worth it. It's paid off for me in more ways than I can even say, even if it was just aside from my crypto investments, even if it's just being able to work in a space that was flexible where I could have my own career path and still be a mom and still travel and still do that, that alone is worth it to me. But there's so many other benefits from working in the space and being your own boss. So yeah, it's great.
It is. And thank you very much. So if people wanted to get in contact with you, how can they contact you?
Yeah, the best way to get in contact with me, you can get in contact with me on Twitter, where you can see Gloria Kumbwala on Twitter, or at @GKumbwala is my space or my handle, pretty much everywhere in the space. I'm in the Black Women Blockchain Council's Discord, so you'll be able to find me there. But you can also find me at GetCoin, and it's gloria@getcoin.co. And if you have any questions regarding grants, you can always type in my name, Gloria Kumbwala, in grants in YouTube, and you'll see one of the presentations I did at ETH Denver, and it talks about not only GetCoin's grants, but a lot of other orgs have grants too, and you can really fund pretty much everything right now with grants if you need to.
Awesome. And this is great to know. I really appreciate you broaching that subject, and it's very important for everyone who's watching to understand that there's a lot of money out there. People are funding this space, and there's money to be circulated. So I want y'all to tap in, go to getcoin.co, look at what they have, the hackathons, the bounties, the grant rounds. Take a look, because they have several grant rounds, correct?
Yeah, grants rounds happen once every quarter. So they usually happen March, June, September, and December are the grants rounds. The hackathons we have going all year long are hackathons, and the bounties are all year long. And then if you jump into our DAO and you want to either learn more or start to contribute, you can always join our DAO at getcoindao.co. And we have a lot of different avenues that you could do there that are not technical related. Sometimes it's just talking about public goods. So public good is anything that a whole community shares, whether it's roads, libraries, knowledge, or open source contributions. You can talk about public goods. There's a whole team that deals with that. There's a whole team that talks about regenerative financing. There's a whole team that deals with translating documents. We have a whole team that deals with that. There's a support team. There's a whole ecosystem of roles that you can do that aren't technical. And a lot of times these roles are roles that people do in their everyday lives that they can also be earning crypto to do as well.
There you have it. Bring yourself as you are, and there's a space for you. So I want everyone to tap into that. Thank you very much, Gloria. Really appreciate it. Great to see you once again.
Yeah, I love seeing you.
Further the discussion. If you can, please join us in the AMA, Ask Us Anything. We are going to open up Discord, Clubhouse, and Twitter spaces as well. So want you to tap in there as well. Thank you, Gloria.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, feel free to ask questions. I'll be there. I'll be in the AMA for sure.
All right. Have a good one. Well, that is it. That is the end of our International Women of Blockchain segment for Mind Your Money Monday session for today. We want y'all to join us tomorrow for NF Tuesdays, which is our non-fungible token day, where you'll get to be introduced to the various digital artwork actually, that a lot of these women are creating using NFTs. We want y'all to tap in, support them, cheer them on, and get more insight into who they are as individuals. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Don't forget, go ahead and go into Discord, follow us, as well as retweet. Make sure you use those hashtag celebrate her, hashtag empower her, as well as hashtag IWBEVENT. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye.